Welcome back to another training vlog. This is training vlog number 14. So this is our first arm and shoulder night of week 6. And tonight I decided to start with the preacher curl, and I stayed on this for a total of 10 sets. Well, actually 11 sets. I did 2 warm-ups, 5 working sets, and then 4 top sets with the same weight. And I actually got a really good pump from this. When I got done, my biceps were exceptionally tender, and I had an amazing workout just on this one movement. Then after this, I moved to alternating dumbbell curls for 4 to 5 sets. I can't remember exactly. I just went until my arms were a hamburger. And I got to tell you, focusing on one movement 100% and really giving it everything you have, like, it's just a different change of pace from what I was doing. You know, I'm not knocking any kind of training programs, because the training program I was doing right before this, I was doing 4 different movements for my bicep, 4 sets of each movement, and it's a great workout. It's just eventually you run your course on a program, and then it gets stagnant or stale, or you get boring, or you can't make any more progress, or because eventually you either start lifting near your maximal potential of reps or weight, or you just mentally check out. And for me, I think I was just mentally checked out. So changing it up to this gives me more time to warm up, and really focus on my actual muscle and the movement without having to worry about being in a rush to hurry up and get to the next movement, to the next movement, to the next movement. It's just like, okay, I'm putting all my effort and attention into this movement, so I'm going to make it count, and I'm going to give it everything I have until I'm hamburger on this. And then, you know, that's what I did for my arms and shoulders tonight, but I'll talk about that whenever we get to that moment with the triceps and shoulders.
Yeah, for me, I started on triceps tonight since you were on biceps first. So with triceps, I started out with the wide grip press downs, and I just went from, I believe I started at like 40 or 50 pounds and did 2 sets of 12, and then I just worked down from sets of 8 until max the stack. But once I got there, I just kind of kept repping out as many as I could until my last set, which recorded, and then I did like a drop set. So I just dropped it by 20 pounds each. Like I do as many as I can, then drop it by 20 pounds until I got back to the 50 pounds, and then just ripped out as many as I could. It felt good. It was a difficult night, and then I went with went with cable kickbacks, but the standing ones like you did last week, and gave those a try for my burnout. And yeah, it is a much different feel, but I was able to focus a lot more on the tricep, not having to bend over to do the movement. So it was actually nice being able to work from that angle for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I got asked in the comments about if there's, like, who else do I think has good training programs and good training philosophies and stuff like that. And there's so many guys on YouTube and so many guys out there that have so much good information and so many good training programs and training advice and methods and everything. But no matter who you watch or who you look to for advice, and including us, you know, or anyone, just remember, like, there's so many different training programs and ways to train, and there's so many different protocols for reps and weights and different ideas and methods, and there's just so many out there that just don't get caught up like dogma, where you feel like this is the only thing that's going to work because this guy is really big, or this guy seems like he really knows what he's doing, because look at him, because what works for him may not work for you. But it doesn't mean you can't apply and try, because you might be the outlier and that might work for you, and that might be the ticket for you and stuff like that. Just keep an open mind whenever you're training. Like, there's no end all be all program of reps and sets and anything like that. Like, there's so many different variations out there that could work, and it's just about, you know, finding what feels comfortable for you.
It's like we said before, though, like the best routine is always going to be the one that works best for you, the one that fits you best. So like picking one and just going like, I have to do this one, and it's got to work because they say it's going to work or whatever. Like that's what worked for that person or whatever. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. They're telling you it's going to work for you or whatever, but that doesn't guarantee it will. So like you got to pick whatever is going to work best for you individually. So that's why there are so many out there. Like, so if one doesn't work, it doesn't mean that it's garbage or whatever, because there's someone else out there that one will work for and it will do amazing. But there's another one out there for you that is going to be your, like, that's the one that works the best. But after a little bit of time, that one's going to fade out for you, and you will have to find another like way to change it up a little bit to get those same like results and feelings out of the routine again.
Yeah, and also too, the thing is, it's like I believe over time you develop principles, and like this comes with time and experience. Like you start learning what works for you and what doesn't, and what's more beneficial to your body type or your style of training. And then there's guys out there that won't pay attention to their body types, or not. When I say body types, I don't mean like you're endomorph or mesomorph. I'm not talking about that. Real quick, let me get back to this. So right here on the I did rope press downs on this. This is the tricep movement that I did, and same thing. I did a total of 11 sets on this. Same exact thing I did for biceps, is just with the rope press down. So sum that up real quick. So anyway, so like I said, like what I mean by your body type, I mean what your body responds to. So I think there's a lot of gimmicky stuff around body types, and I don't think that that's necessarily the case for what most people's problems are. I just think most people aren't training hard enough, and they're not paying attention to what their body responds to. So my word of advice to anybody out there, if you want to know what your body responds to the best, it's going to take months and years of logging, and then you eventually develop your principles. Like, okay, my principles are I stick to this rep range and this rep range. I like this amount of intensity, and these movements reign supreme over these movements, and machines over this and that over this and this over that. And you'll learn eventually. And there's some guys, like I said, they'll hear something someone else says, and they'll just throw all that information that they learned over the years to the wind because they never really paid attention. So my biggest piece of advice that I give to anyone out there, whether you're a young lifter, a new lifter, or you're just trying to figure it out, get a logbook. Start logging your workouts. Log the way they made you feel. Write down your reps, your sets, what movements you did, and then make a little cliff note how it made you feel that night. You know, like worked out my biceps in this amount of time, these sets, great pump, okay pump, good pump. Help measure your arms, measure your thighs, measure your quads, measure your pumps, and see what your arms. Now you can't dictate growth off of your pumps, but you can monitor what gives you a better pump and what doesn't. And does a pump mean you're growing? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that, but it sure is. It's a gauge of measurement to see how much blood volume you're getting into that muscle. And that's just one way to track it. So like if you start tracking your progress in your workouts, like, man, I notice I can gain weight every single week on this lift, but this one I got about 3 weeks in and it stalled out. Change that one out for a different lift. You cannot continuously put weight on the bar. It's going to be impossible. You cannot continuously do that, but you can try like hell too. And then when it stops improving, you can pick a different exercise to change that one out to something different that you can start back over. And then when you stop progressing in that one, you can go back to the other movement, start off lighter from where you left off, and then build back up to where you left off, and then see if you move past that with the rep range that you're shooting for. That's my biggest piece of advice to people that they're not sure where to go and they're lost with all the information because there's so much out there to get confused. Just log your workouts and just make notes on how it makes you feel.
Yeah, that's solid advice. Just finding what is working for you and keeping track of that like as best you can. Also, like for me on the biceps, I went with dumbbell curls, and for my last set, I ended up doing just a rest pause for it. Did 3 rest pauses, and then after the rest pause, I just did like split the weight down in half and just repped out as many as I could, and then I went with some cable curls to kind of finish it off. And yeah, like the cable curls, I really enjoy cable curls.
Yeah. So kind of back to what I was saying real quick. So like, okay, for instance, let's say you're doing bench press, and let's say you're bench pressing 135 and you're doing 5 sets. And let's say the goal is to hit 12 reps on every single set, even though you're pyramiding the weight up. Log it down, and every single time you go to the gym, try to get at least 1 more rep on each set, or at least 1 set, or 5 more pounds, and then work that 5 pounds until you get 12 reps on every single set. And then keep logging that. Then whenever you stall out and you stop being able to put more reps and more weight on the bar, switch the barbell press out for dumbbell press. Or instead of dumbbell press, go to machine press or iso press or incline barbell press or whatever. And then start over with that. And then whenever you stall out on that, switch back to whatever movement you were doing before that. Start about whatever 50% is what you left off. So let's say you started at 135, you moved it to 225. Well, cut that in half, and whatever, let's just say 185. You start off at 185, then you build back up to 225 and keep trying to push past that. And remember, it's always easier to build reps over weight. So if you're starting off with like 6 reps, It's going to be a lot harder to continuously increasing weight. But if you start off with like 15 to 20 reps, it's a lot easier to add reps and then weight to higher rep sets than it is to add weight to lower rep sets. And like I said, this is just a little piece of advice from years of experience of training and lifting. But like I said, just log your workouts. And even if you follow someone else's program and take their advice 100%, still log your programs and make little clip notes about how that workout made you feel. Joint pain, back pain, soreness the day after. How long did it take you to recover? If you're exhausted the next day, was it hard to move around? Was it hard to get out of bed? Was it hard to get your food down? Just make notes and then track how it made you feel. And then that's going to tell you kind of what direction your body needs. Man, when I do this routine, I feel great. And when I do this routine, I always feel like hammered dog crap, So that's a little piece of advice I could give to newer lifters or young lifters,
Yeah. And, for shoulders, I don't really care for working shoulders. It's so difficult for me, but it is a much needed area of improvement for me. So like doing the shoulder press like we have been doing, I worked up a little bit higher today than I have in the previous weeks, which was nice. But I need a lot of improvement. It's so difficult working the shoulders for me.
Yeah, tonight I did the same thing. I did actually 10 sets on shoulder press, 2 warm-ups, 5 working sets, and 3 top sets. And then on triceps and biceps, I did 4 top sets, but I worked up to 40 pounds. And then after that, I did some side laterals, which I didn't get footage of that. Just basic side laterals with 10 pounds for 4 or 5 sets at 20 reps, just to force as much blood in there as I can get. And that was basically my shoulder workout, and it felt amazing. So,
Yes, sir.
So is that it for you? Is there anything else you want to add?
Nope, sounds good for tonight.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone for stopping by to check us out and joining us on this video vlog. Remember, stay positive and keep focused on your goals, and don't let anyone get in the way of your progress, and don't let no one tell you that it's not possible or you can't do it or you're not good enough, because I promise you, you are. And don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. And remember, no agony, no bragging.
Yeah, catch you later.